My mother is a very intelligent woman. Married a man with the surname Olowokure to secure my future. Named me Moyosolaoluwa to take care of the present. She knew that there would be blessings to come with each new day. Olowokure, the rich man, died well because he lived the same way. Didn't ask his age, pay grade, skin color, or lack of provision for permission to try. Didn't stagger at God's promises or break his hopes by asking why or telling the world he was unqualified. The rich man died well because he lived the same way. So when you call me Olowokure, you do not just speak of my future, you speak of my past too. Speak of the image I was cast in and the role too. Speak of the bold heart who knew that my life would be worth all the dancing. Olowokure is not just a name, it is a prophecy. But about a burial? Nah, death is dead, it's about the beyond. Because when an Olowokure dies, he merely ascends to an assembly of rich men who never die. Moyosolaoluwa, my God wealth is untouchable. Moyosolaoluwa, my joy is always ablaze. Moyosolaoluwa Olowokure. Why would I ever let you misspell this name?
Moyo's journey began where all stories take root, within the walls of a home, where whispers of the heart first took shape. From those humble beginnings, a seedling unfurled, a testament to how ordinary moments, nurtured by time and truth, can blossom into extraordinary legacies.
Hi, I'm Moyosolaoluwa Olowokure. I am loved by God. I'm a sun-kissed poet and a student of the University of Lagos at the moment. I think it began when I first learned to read. Words and writing and reading have always been things that connect deeply with me on a soul level. So I think since primary school, really, I'd always loved to read. I'd always loved to write. Writing in my diary or, a birthday card for my dad or whatever was always a very deeply personal and I'll say spiritual experience for me, although I wouldn't have been able to describe it as such at the time. And over time, I think streamlining words and reading and all of that into poetry really happened in SS2 when we had this teacher, Miss Nabila Usman. She came to our school, started this Purple Silver poetry club and played us YouTube videos of spoken word artists from other parts of the world. And it was I would say it unlocked something in me. It was very awe-inspiring and it was definitely something that I wanted to do and I began doing. The first time that I performed a poem on stage, I think was at an open mic in Kaduna, just across the street from my house. And it was just this literary community, Purple Silver, same community that came to my school. And I read my poem. I don't remember what it was about. Probably a boy I had a crush on at the time or something. But it felt very nervous. I felt very nervous. And I wondered what people thought of me in that moment. But I think it also felt very exhilarating and freeing and exciting. It was different to be on stage and to literally lay bare something that only existed in, private corners of my soul. And I think I loved every minute of it. I did feel nervous, but I think I loved every minute.
The first time I heard a poem by Moyo, I was in awe of her ability to weave words together so beautifully. It's been about 3 years since that time, and watching Moyo perform a poem still leaves me speechless. I think that Moyo's connection to poetry is first spiritual. I mean, you hear the words and you just know that God definitely has a hand in this masterpiece. Definitely. Like for Moyo, it's beyond a form of art, it's a means of expression. Poetry is how she shapes the world around her into a better place. And this generation is lucky, so lucky, that we get to experience that in real time.
popularly called favorite sun-kissed poet, a name as radiant as her craft, where warmth meets wisdom, and every line glows like the dawn breaking over the Niger. In her hands, poetry is no mere art, it is a torch. And in Nigeria's vibrant, ever-evolving creative cosmos, Moyo burns bright, a beacon for the dreamers, the ones who believe that words, when wielded with courage, can reshape the world.
I would term the kind of poetry I write spiritual poetry. I majorly explore themes about God and nature and love and grief. And I believe that these are the themes that greatly underlie most of the human experience and my human experience so far. And I think these topics or these themes are very important to digest and to explore and to go into. And that's why I write about them.
Silver is used to strengthen gold. Any jeweler will tell you that the first runner-up is there in case the first falls. We are all running. And I hear God call us the Joshua generation. And it is not the beginning of a talent show. It is more of a talent sow, because all the souls we will reap. This world will yet again marvel at the glory that God's people will unleash, at the corners that His love is sharp enough to reach. We are called songbirds and solicitors, tech bros and teachers, but the head of all this fullness calls us by one name. He calls us ministers, calls us light upon light, agents well trained to fight those cocky ideologies. And I beg you to respond to this call with all that the giver of forms has blessed you with. What has the giver of forms blessed you with? A voice, a body, a chance to tell somebody about His plan.
This happened in 2022, October. I went for a very popular poetry slam, Lagos International Poetry Fest, and I was really interested in winning, and I did my very best, wrote poems, asked for advice from more experienced poets around me, and I think I didn't know at the time, but I had really modified my normal or genuine style of writing to fit what I believed would be praised in slams at the time. And so I wrote in a way that I generally wouldn't write in, and I went for the slam, shared the piece that I had prepared for the first round, and was eliminated. And I don't know if I would describe it as a down moment in hindsight, because it did make me, I'm glad that it was not reinforced, that betrayal of self or of style. I'm glad that I experienced that. It was very painful, but it made me know the importance of staying true to yourself as a writer and true to your style. And one of the greatest poems that I've ever written came shortly after and from that experience.
To be ripped out of me and held up for the world to see that I am a kind of Adam. On one October eve, I found the forbidden fruit called forgery. The serpent told me that if I swallow the seeds, my voice could sound like anything but my own. And I scoffed it down like it was a promise and not a plague, not a curse that on the next stage I climbed, there would be nothing left of the divine so freely given to me. And this is how a priest turns prisoner. This is how Eden wilts to Negev. When will it be my turn to be the sun? When will I be the one to post the viral poetry reel that goes in circulation? When saplings like me are sick, we
we are quick to think like this. But the universe still sings to bring us back into blooming. Reminds us what folly it is assuming that the nations always need to hear something new. Aren't the most beautiful of revelations often the most repeated? Gospel, goal, a last born's name, a song from the soul. There are great zeniths that I am yet to reach. But there are lessons of love and faith that I must teach even as I am still learning. Yes.
At just 21, Moyo carries the soul of a poet and the mind of a seeker, a student of psychology at the University of Lagos, dissecting the human heart in lecture halls and verses alike. She is part of a bold new generation, a constellation of voices redefining Nigerian poetry, stitching raw truth into rhythm and turning whispers of the soul.
Moyo's connection to poetry feels natural. It doesn't feel like something that is forced or that is borrowed. You know, it feels like something that came with her to this earth. Her connection to poetry is not in a learned manner. It is in the manner of observation, of writing from a place of observation, observing the trees in relation to what even matters to you, which to her are God, her relationship with God, her relationship with people, with love, her experience as a human being. So observation in that sense, observing the trees, observing the skyline, finding what is being said where most people do not, hearing what is being said where most people do not, observing her own emotions, observing the emotions of the people around her, observing the emotions of the world, observing what the Bible is saying and bringing that, giving that life and turning it into something that we can listen to, something that we can feel. So yes, I think that Moyo's connection to poetry feels very natural. It's not forced. It is something that of her.
Moyosolaoluwa is an amazing poet. She's a very, very good poet. I remember the first time I came across a page, it was on a Saturday afternoon. I was less busy at the time and I was scrolling through my Instagram page. Then I stumbled on these amazing poets and I found myself scrolling through the page. Of course, this was not my first time, listening to poems or coming across poetry. I was in the arts department growing up, and in secondary school, we, read poems of great poets like Olowokure, William Shakespeare, and the rest. But somehow, these poems were a little bit rigid for me. I sometimes got it, but I didn't get it, right? So when I listened to Moyo's poem, I was amazed. I don't know how many times I've said that, but I was really amazed because it felt like she was letting me in on a secret, that she was opening doors that I was never able to open before with her poems. And she taught me poetry without teaching me directly. She taught me through our poems. So I really appreciate her as a poet and as a person. I'm sure she has taught a lot of young poets too. I'm sure she has influenced in one way or the other. And through her, I came across other young Nigerian poets in particular. I just want to say that Moyo is really who she says she is.
Moyo isn't just any poet. She's a remarkable one. She has graced stages across the country and beyond, sharing her voice and vision with diverse audiences all around the world.
I think having people around me that care about creativity and care about art and are just so passionate about the work that they create has really been encouraging and has really spurred me on to be brave and to try new things in my art. And I've met so many of such people right here in Unilag. I've recorded so many pieces here. I have met some of my people that I hope I get to collaborate with for a lifetime here, and also the friends that literally pick me up when I have those down moments have been here. So I would say that Unilag has definitely been a key contributor to my growth as an artist and as a person.
Her creative journey includes several acclaimed poetry films, and she recently released the powerful visual for her hit single, We Will Not Stop.
To my fellow young poets, I would say be as honest as you possibly can. I always say that the best work is the most honest work, and you would not be able to discover who you truly are or love who you truly are or love the work that you create if you don't know what it is, and if you don't, and you can't know what it is if you don't lean into honesty and lean into truth. And so write about the things that matter to you. You would definitely have those moments along the line when you are asked specifically to write about something. Sure, you would definitely have those moments, but in the meantime, write about what moves you, not about what you think people want to hear. I would quote one of my poems: any poet knows which words you want to hear, but a good poet will first give you the ones you need. I think the words that anyone needs would always be honest words, true words.